Hi guys, you're listening to Ebird Online, and this is my review for 90 Day Fiancé, Season 7, Episode 4. Don't forget your past, and this is part 2 of this week's review. So if you haven't listened to my last video, I covered Michael and Juliana, and Mike and Natalie. So go back and listen to that, I will tag it just at the bottom. And for this review, I'm going to be talking about Anna and Mursel, and Robert and Annie. Thank you so much guys for subscribing. I'm really near to my 15,000 now, so please click that red button. Thank you to everyone that's already joined my little flock of eBirds. I really appreciate your support, and also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at mbird99. Right, so first up I'm going to be speaking about Anna and Mursel. So we first meet up with Anna and Mursel, and they're off to go beekeeping. Anna explains to us that so far Mursel does not like America. Anna, the feeling's mutual. America doesn't like Mursel. Well, certainly if my subscribers are to be believed. And Anna lets us know things haven't gone well with her mum and the boys, but she thinks that going beekeeping will make Mursel feel more at home. And Mursel tells us he's been beekeeping since he was 7 or 8, and he comes from a long line of beekeepers. His father, his grandfather, his uncles, all of them were beekeepers. Anna tells us that she was very nervous, as Mursel has lots more experience than her. Anna was right to be nervous. What Mursel saw next sickened him to his very core. Mursel thinks Anna's quite simply rubbish at beekeeping. Her bees aren't ready for the honey season, and quite frankly, he's horrified by the sight and embarrassed to be seen around these bees. He'd be quite simply mortified if anyone were to imagine that this rotten collection of bees were his. He ensures his head and face are totally covered so that nobody can see him. Mursel's petrified of being linked to these lousy bees. Later on, Anna explains that she can't really be asked to do the job properly. You know, scraping wax and making sure the bees are ready for honey season and such like. If you miss the season, you miss the season. So what? They can still buzz around and sting people. And then she got turned on watching Mursel work with the bees. She tried to tell him, but he didn't understand, and neither did I. And then she asked him, do you think I'm sexy when I'm working with the bees? No, Anna, no he doesn't. He thinks you're slapdash and substandard and a joke, but certainly not sexy. And the next time we catch up with them, Anna and Mursel are going to a wedding shower. And for my UK subscribers, or anyone else that doesn't know, a wedding shower is like a pre-wedding party. So I guess it's like a baby shower. And unlike a stag night or a hen night, it's for both sexes. And so Anna tells us that she's hoping this wedding shower is going to go well. And she said an old friend of hers is going to throw the shower, and she's very worried that Mursel will not be able to communicate. And the eBird's here to tell you, Anna, don't worry about it or not. Mursel won't be able to communicate, but whether he did or not, he'd still seem like an absolute weirdo. But whether he's speaking English or speaking his native Turkish, it's always the gibberings of an idiot, and he always seems like an absolute weirdo. And Anna tries to calm Mursel's nerves. Are you scared? Well, try to make an effort to communicate, Mursel. Don't use a phone, Mursel, and don't use your translation app, Mursel. Yep, that's it, Anna. His nerves are all calm now. And she said, make an effort in talking to my friends, please. And Anna's very concerned, as her friends are all skeptical about the relationship anyway. Anna, no they're not. Skeptical means that you're having doubts or reservations. Your friends are in the certain knowledge that this relationship is absolutely laughable. They're not skeptical about anything. But I must say, when they walk in, the wedding shower looks absolutely lovely, and it's at somebody's house, but it's a really beautiful house, and there's loads of cakes and ribbons and decorations. And Mursel said he's never heard of a wedding shower either. Mursel, that's unsurprising. You've never left your village. And they walk in, Mursel, Son's translation app, and her friends pounce on him, and they say, are you ready for the wedding? He looks at them blankly. The wedding, your wedding, are you ready for it? Again, more blank looks. Are you happy? Yes, happy, happy. It's like he knows one word, and the truth be told, that seems like it's a lie. And then a friend indulges in a little bit of stirring, because she asks, are you happy with Anna drinking wine? But strangely enough, Mursel understood that and said, not that happy, not really. And then he tells production that he's finding it extremely difficult, and he's starting to feel and seem weird. Mursel, you are weird. He decided to go for a wander outside, and again the garden's beautiful. I'm really loving this house, guys. And he asked for a drink, but he first needed to check that there was no alcohol, and then he had some iced tea. He could quite a lonely figure standing there without his translation app, and without the good sense to have learnt at least rudimentary English before he came to the United States. And as I'm sitting here reviewing this ever more boring storyline, I wondered to myself, why isn't he enrolled right now in an English school? There are language schools all over America. Enroll in one and basically do a full-time job at a language school, 9 to 5 every single day. In the evenings, listen to the radio and practice. I feel as if he's not really putting his back into it, and it makes me suspicious. And I think that he doesn't want to really leave Turkey, and that he sees everything that's happening in America as very temporary. And then Anna's friends corner her and start asking her about communication problems, and she tells them sometimes he pretends he understands me and he nods and says yeah, and then I find out later on he didn't understand a word I said. And Anna's friends are so busy discussing the fact that he can't communicate, that they fail to notice a complete and utter total lack of chemistry. And as far as the E-Bird's concerned, that's far more worrying. Anyone can learn English. You can't learn to fancy somebody that you simply don't like. And that's where this part of the storyline ends. I feel as if Anna actually set Mursel up because she said you can't use your translation app, you must make more effort. But if you want him to make more effort when he's at home with you or the boys. But you don't make more effort when you're meeting all of your friendship group for the very first time. That's stressful, even if you're all speaking the same language. If you're doing it in a second language, then in fact, I don't know why I'm saying second language because he doesn't speak any of it, but if you're doing it in another language, that's even more scary. And that's everything this week from Anna and Mursel. It seems to me that Anna's beekeeping is about as successful as Anna's love life. I think that Anna needs to pay a little more attention to what she's doing. Let me know what you guys think. Have these two completely and utterly bored you as yet? Or are you imagining something interesting might happen in the future? I know I'm not. And next up, it's Robert and Annie. And we begin this episode with Robert telling us things have been intense. We don't say. We don't see eye to eye about money or with anything. But nevertheless, we love each other. Really, Robert? Do you? And what does love mean to you, Robert? And I think love to Robert looks like a nanny, stroke, sex partner, stroke, maid, stroke person to boss around. And Robert, Annie and Bryson get into the car. And every single time I see this couple, it flashes through my mind that it's almost like seeing the beginning of an episode of Wives with Knives. I always think it's going to end really, really badly. Robert tells us they're off to meet Ben and Stephanie, and Ben and Stephanie are Bryson's maternal grandparents. Robert tells us they love and care about Bryson and they love to spend time with him. So this to me is quite an interesting storyline. I feel as if Robert's told us previously that his ex did a moonlight flit, she took all her stuff and disappeared, and he has no idea where she is. And I find this very difficult to believe if her mother is still in his life. So are we to believe that she's not speaking to her own mum as well? There's far more to this than meets the eye. Robert asks Annie, what are you going to say when you meet them? And Annie says, hi, nice to meet you, bye. And then she says, your past should be in your past. Why do I have to meet them? Annie, you're so childish. They are the grandparents of the child that you're going to be parenting. They're not the past, they're the present. Maybe you don't like that present, but that's how it is. And Robert tells us if they don't get along, the only one to get hurt will be Bryson. Well then I suggest to you, Robert, that you talk to your partner about her disgusting attitude. Annie keeps on asking, why do I have to meet them? What for? What's the point? And Robert, if that's not blatantly obvious to her, you should be considering getting rid of her. So considering Annie's frame of mind, it would be very surprising if this meeting goes well. I almost feel like Robert wants to set things up to fail. You know very well if somebody's got that attitude and that frame of mind, any meeting is not going to go well. And I literally think he's the most stupid person on the whole of this franchise ever. So they pull up to the park and Bryson runs and jumps on the climbing frame and he starts having fun, and then a couple walk up who are Stephanie and Ben. And Ben wasted no time in asking Annie, where are you from? The Dominican Republic. And how did you meet? Online, through a mutual friend. Guys, I actually just think it's online, but I can't be bothered with these guys anymore. And then Ben asked, did you go to the DR to see her? And if so, how many days did you meet for? And Robert had to admit that it was one quick visit and it was 8 hours only. And when talking to the producers, Ben said, I can't believe these guys have allegedly talked for 2 years, but I only found out 2 days ago. The whole thing strikes me as odd and I can't understand why I wasn't told. And Robert fires back, my business is my business. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Again, Robert, like your ringless so-called fiancé, of course it's his business because it's his grandson. And Ben said he's extremely worried for Bryson as they've brought someone into the house that you've only known for a couple of days. And the truth be told, I don't blame him. I'm with Ben. And then Stephanie, Ben's grandmother, asks Annie if she can have a word with her alone. They walk away from the climbing frame and they go and sit on a bench. And Stephanie explains to Annie, I'm his mother figure, and so I'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. How'd you get on with Bryson? Annie looked like a sulky little child and looked at the floor, and then she said, I get on with him fine. He needs love. And Stephanie said, oh, he's got lots of love. That baby is very loved. And really, Annie, that was quite a rude thing to say. And because although I'm not Robert's biggest fan, I feel like he does really love Bryson. But then Stephanie has a bombshell. She asked Annie, has Robert told you I'm an adult film actress? I've been doing it for 15 years now. Stephanie, it's no big deal. There's loads of adult film actresses. Meryl Streep, Jennifer Lawrence. Why, our very own Kate Winslet. Oh, no. Stephanie explains that means she's a porn star. Porn star? Oh dear, here we go. And you can tell by the look on Annie's face, she was absolutely disgusted. Porn star Stephanie continued, I'm extremely protective of Bryson and I want to know who's going to be around my grandson. And then she continued, what are your intentions in the US, Annie? Annie? And Annie replied, what do you have to know that for? And she said, well, it's going to affect my grandson. And Annie said, no, these are far too many personal questions. And she told producers, she's rude, she's bad, and I don't like her. But Stephanie was just warming up. Do you see yourself having children with Robert? Maybe. What birth control are you using right now? None of your business. Are you looking to get pregnant? She was very, very forward with her line of questioning, but then these questions are nothing. You should hear what she asks her work colleagues. And then finally, after 15 minutes of barbs and sulking and bad attitude, Stephanie asks Annie, can we forge some sort of relationship? Annie looks her dead in the eye and said, are you finished? Bye. And Annie is dead ass as rude as an Emma. And I hate to say it, but she actually deserves Robert. Fair enough, nobody likes what this lady does, but she should be really blaming Robert for not cluing her in on the whole situation before she left the DR. There were many questions that were never asked by Annie. Annie should have insisted on going for a visit to Florida before even considering getting married or considering getting involved with Robert. And Stephanie announces, I don't think Annie's here for the right reasons. No shit, Stephanie. She met him for 8 hours. He didn't have a ring, yet he proposed to her. And she flew over, leaving her family and friends in the DR. Of course she had another agenda. She knew that. He knew that. Everybody knows that. That's not up for debate. Just as Robert's got another agenda as well. Maid, nanny, live-in escort. And the only question anybody should be truthfully asking is, are her reasons compatible with a long-term relationship with Robert and Bryson? And thus far I think it's fair to say that they're not. Annie tells Robert, this old lady came to talk to me and ask me personal questions. I don't like her. And then Stephanie and Ben leave. They kiss Bryson and they're off. And Annie says she's very mean. And Robert said Annie felt threatened by Stephanie. And it didn't go so well. He really is a numbskull. And he has far too many secrets. Your mother-in-law being a porn star is probably something you should disclose. And the next time we meet up with Robert and Annie, Robert tells us he wants to cheer Annie up. After meeting Ben and Stephanie, she's been in a bad mood, so he plans to take her for a lovely meal. Annie tells him she has a cold. And Robert, ever the gentleman, says, I hope it ain't catching, because I ain't trying to get sick. Robert, whatever happened to saying, are you okay? Is there anything I can get you? How are you feeling? When they get to the restaurant, Rob asks Annie, how was your day? And she tells him it was good, until she met up with Porno Granny. And then Annie displays why she could never be an actress, adult film or otherwise, because she says, I'm mentally hurt due to the line of questioning that I underwent from Stephanie. I've been thinking about it all day. And then Robert gets fake angry and he says it's nothing to do with her. Let's call her on the phone and address these issues, because I don't want you to be disrespected. Unless, of course, it's by me. Stephanie needs to put a pipe up her ass and shut up. Oh, what a beautiful turn of phrase Robert has. And Robert's trying to convince Annie now that he has her back and that he's worried about her and that he wants the best for her. And somehow I think Annie's just stupid enough to fall for it. And unsurprisingly, because Annie knows that Stephanie wasn't rude to her at all, Annie doesn't want to ring Stephanie. And Annie asks Robert, does she still see Bryson? And she's an adult film actress. And then she called her a biatch and asked, who does she think she is? I'll tell you, Annie, she's Bryson's grandmother. And in a rare break from form, for once Robert does the right thing, and he tells Annie that his upbringing tells him it would be wrong to stop Bryson from seeing his grandparent. And then Annie said, do you think your past is going to affect our relationship? Typical Annie, she's only bothered about her, not at all about Bryson. And Robert says, only if you allow it, the past is the past. And then Annie started moaning about his ex-girlfriends. She said they're all on social media, photos of them all, and she whipped out her iPhone, oh no it's not, to display exhaustive screenshots of Robert with his ex-girlfriend. And guys, there were quite a few pages, but anyway, Robert kept saying, that's old, that's old. And then he explains to producers that he has 5 beautiful children by 4 different women. And he says when he was back in Brooklyn, he was a player. But now I ain't messing with other girls. Now I've aged. Now I've changed. But then Annie tells producers that he only told her 15 days before she came to the US that he had 5 kids and not 3. But Annie, you still had every opportunity not to bother going, not to bother selling your clothes, and not to bother giving it the large one to all your family and friends about how you're going to live in Miami and be rich. Yes, you might have lost a little bit of face, but you should have known by that Robert was no good. Annie demands that Robert takes all the photos off Facebook, and Robert says, don't you dare boss me around. We're not even married yet. What are you doing, Annie? Sitting around all day looking at my social media? And Annie said, I won't marry a man with an ex on Facebook. Annie, he won't marry you anyway. He has no money. And then Robert fires back, where are the pictures of me on your social media? There's not one picture of me, not one single solitary photograph. And Robert said, is there someone else? Somebody that you're keeping me a secret from? I think you're shady. Oh, Robert, Robert, have you been sitting all day going through Annie's social media? It seems what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. And with these two guys, there's absolutely no trust. But it's clear to me that Annie's not in it for the long haul. And it's interesting to find out that there's not any pictures of Robert on her social media. I think Annie's going to plan a little trip to see her girlfriends in Miami. And I think she's going to go play in the field and see who else she can pick up. And whilst I don't care how this affects Robert, it would be catastrophic for Bryson. So guys, tell me what you think. I think yet again Robert's up to his gaslighting. He told Annie, oh, there's no way that I'm going to delete all these photos, because what happens if Bryson wants to see pictures of his mum when he's older? What about my son? Robert, she just said take them off Facebook. She didn't ask you to throw the photos into the pit of burning hell. All you need to do is just put them on your PC or put them on a hard drive somewhere, so that when Bryson wants to have a look at his mum, he can see her. And that's what bugs me about Robert. He always has to go absolutely OTT. He failed to check the veracity of Annie's claims. He's known Bryson's grandparents for years, and he just believed Annie that they were really rude and really intrusive. He failed to check Annie with her bad attitude before she went into the meeting. I honestly think that he's just incapable at life. He doesn't have two brain cells to rub together. And as for Annie, pretty much the same. She's got extremely poor decision making skills. She acts like a child, and if nothing else, she knows what it's like to lose a parent, and she shouldn't want it to happen to any other child. So why are you messing around with Bryson? Why are you potentially hurting his feelings? I'd love to say these two deserve each other, but for Bryson's sake, they need to get as far away as they can from each other as possible. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think Annie's behaviour was disgusting? Would you be happy if your mother-in-law was an adult film star? Would you let her see your child? And what do we really think happened between Robert and Bryson's mum? Please put your answers down below. And this is everything for this review. Please, if you haven't already, don't forget to click that red button and subscribe to my channel for regular content and regular reviews. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.